We really value our independence these days, don't we? I mean, with self-checkout, social media feeds, noise-canceling headphones, you can basically go a whole day without a real conversation.
It's seen as efficient.
Right. But today we're digging into a source that argues this efficiency is actually a critical design flaw.
We're looking at a sermon from Pastor Sung No of Praise Presbyterian Church, and he basically says, our modern comfort zone is exactly where we're breaking down.
And he goes right back to the beginning to make his case, to Genesis.
He does. And it's such a fascinating point. Most people know the rhythm of the creation story. You know, God makes something, says, it's good, light, land, animals, all very good.
But there's a catch.
There's one moment in this theoretically perfect world where God looks at something and explicitly says, this is not good.
That man should be alone, Genesis 2:18.
Exactly. And the argument isn't just that loneliness is sad. He's saying it's a malfunction. It goes against the blueprint.
This leads to what he calls the anatomy of loneliness. Most of us have heard about having a God-shaped vacuum in our hearts, right?
Right. That only God can fill that specific void.
Right.
But the pastor says we're missing half the picture. He says we also have a man-shaped vacuum.
Meaning we're wired for horizontal connection just as much as vertical.
Precisely. He quotes this poet, Kim Hun-sung, on Solitude in the Crowd. It's that hollow feeling you get sitting in a traffic jam, surrounded by thousands, but you've never felt more alone.
Oh, absolutely. But there was one study he cited that really floored me. It basically concluded that it's better to eat Crinkies with good friends than to eat broccoli alone.
It sounds like a joke, doesn't it? But the data is apparently deadly serious. Social isolation is so biologically toxic that it can actually outweigh the benefits of physical discipline.
So connection is literal survival. But he goes deeper into the why of it. He gets into this theological concept, imago Dei.
The image of God. Yeah, this is the anchor for his whole argument. He points out that when God creates humanity, the language is plural. Let us make man in our image.
Because of the Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Exactly. God isn't a solo act. God is a community. If God were a single entity, love would just be self-love. But because God is a Trinity, love is an exchange, a relationship.
So if we're made in that image, we have to be communal.
We have to be, which is why he makes this sharp distinction. He says faith is a personal relationship, sure, but it can never be a private one. A private faith is an oxymoron. You can't reflect a communal God all by yourself.
Okay, that makes sense on paper. But in practice, I mean, let's be honest, people are difficult. Community can be painful.
It can be. He doesn't sugarcoat that at all. He uses this really visceral analogy saying community is like pouring water on a cut.
Wow. Yeah, that really resonated. The water itself is good, it's cleansing, but because there's already a wound, it stings.
Right. And we think avoiding people will stop the stinging, but we're just letting the wound fester. And then he shares this devastating personal story.
About his family's restaurant.
Yeah. A church elder basically threatened to report their undocumented status and force them to hand over their business, their entire livelihood. Gone.
That is just horrific.
Yeah.
To be betrayed like that in a place that's supposed to be a sanctuary. I mean, that's where most people would just walk away from faith completely.
And many do. But this is the absolute core of his message. While community was the source of that wound, he argues it was also the only possible source of healing.
The youth group.
The youth group.
Yeah.
The older Nunas and Hungs, big sisters and brothers who stepped in. They didn't solve his family's legal problems. They just showed up. They fed him, bought him books, and, they loved him. That horizontal community is what restored his vertical faith.
Which brings it all back to the so what of this sermon. This call to join something called Sarangbang.
Strongang. It means something like love room, but it's their term for small groups. And he's so careful to frame them not as some administrative program for managing members.
It's about repair.
It's about repair.
Yeah.
It's the practical vehicle for restoring that broken image of God. It's the place where you weep together, laugh together, and bear each other's burdens. It's turning that not good of isolation back into the very good of creation.
It's a heavy takeaway. We tend to see social things like a small group meeting as just another item on the to-do list, another drain on our energy. But if he's right, those interactions are actually the charger.
And he wraps up with a sobering thought, that everything we chase, money, career, status, we leave all of it behind. The only thing that lasts for eternity is relationships.
It really makes you look at your calendar differently. If being alone was the one and only flaw in an otherwise perfect world, how does that change your priorities this week? Maybe go find someone to eat a Twinkie with.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.